Hey everybody, my name is Emma, and welcome back to Nerdy Wednesday! Oh my god, what the hell is happening? Where the fuck have I been? So basically, I had an explanation video a couple, months ago that things just, have not been good, uh, in my life, but I'm working on getting stuff better, and I've been taking months to edit an hour and 15 minutes worth of cosplay video that I've had since June. So that's kind of what's been happening, and oh my god, look what's behind me. I've actually kind of decorated my room in these times. I got a couple posters, got some lovely Nightwing and Jason sorta Red Hood thingy. He's not wearing his hood, but something that I got at con that I told you guys about. And got a Dan and Phil poster that I finally put up for my Dan and Phil tour that I also talked about. I got some cute puppers and kitters from that I got from Convergence, and a nice little lady at Barnes and Noble gave this to me. She was like, do you like superheroes? Because we've been talking, and she gave it to me. It was very nice. But yeah, okay, that's a tiny little life update, blah blah blah. I've been doing school, blah blah blah, work, blah blah blah. Hopefully going to be able to put stuff like music on here by the end of the year, stuff. Okay, so without further ado, welcome back to Nerdy Wednesday. Let us learn how to make a Robin the Boy Wonder belt. Alright, let's do this. 3, 2, 1. So you're going to want to take a belt and cut off the clasp. You will not be needing that. You're also going to need some yellow cloth. You want to make sure that the cloth is long enough to cover your belt entirely. Then once you've got that, you're going to want to make sure that there's about a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of overhang, because you're going to be taking some glue. I have E6000 glue, and you're going to be gluing down the edge of the belt, and then taking the fabric, mine is cotton, and flipping it over and pressing it down. Now the thing to remember with this glue is you've got to wait a little bit for it to get tacky, and then you can start folding it over. Remember to only do this on the back side because E6000 kind of stains cotton. Now just cut off any excess. My belt was kind of curved, so I have a good bit of excess fabric, so I'm going to just cut that off. Then take the rest of the fabric and cut it so that way you have just another 1/4 to 1/2 inch around on the belt to get the rest of that out of the way. Perfect. Now just make sure that the cloth remains taut, and you can do that on the other side. Now as for the clasp, I took the end of a biscuit tin and some more cloth. Trace around the tin, or whatever circular thing you use. And then cut just a little bit outside of the circle that you drew. We're going to do the same sort of thing that we did with the belt. You're going to glue on the inside of the tin. Now since there's a little bit of overhang edge, I need to fill up the groove very much so with glue. You see, put a lot of glue in there, and that's going to take a little bit to get tacky, but then when it finally is, you can fold it over. There we are. Wonderful little clasp. Now we're going to take some snaps. I randomly have these. And we're going to use a couple of them to connect the belt to the, well, belt buckle. So I have two, and I'm going to be taking them apart and putting the flat bottom part, gluing that onto the metal, because the top nubby part is kind of hard to put on metal. So I decided to put that on the fabric part instead. You're going to want to trace around your belt buckle again, because we're going to try and make the design, I guess you can call it, on the buckle as even as possible. So you're going to cut that circle out, and then fold it in half. And then fold it in half again. Then you're going to want to put it on the disc and decide where you want the little trapezoid to be. And then you're going to trace that design onto the buckle. Then you can just draw it on with some black paint. I decided that I wanted the lines in the middle to be closer together, so I'm going to be tracing around those instead of the lines that you just saw me draw. And then back to the belt. You're going to want to make sure that it will fit evenly, since we're not doing a real belt buckle. You want to make sure that the clasp will just come together instead of having weird overlappiness. So we're going to take what overlaps and cut it off. Now let's make them all fit together. Now I'm taking a little highlighter and drawing very heavily on the little nubs of where the clasp is going to be. And then we're going to basically push down and transfer where the little nubby nubs are onto the belt. You can see that. And that's where we're going to put the nub part of the thing. The top part. We're going to be gluing the top part nub into the fabric. Yes? Yes. And onto the pockets. Now the pockets are a little bit bigger than the belt buckle, so I'm going to be using that and drawing a square, a rectangle, a little bit around that. It's about like 1.5 inches taller than the belt buckle. And then about 1 inch wider. Then you're going to want to cut that out. Alright, now you're going to want to trace that onto the yellow fabric. Now this is essentially going to be the front panel, and we're going to move it up again and make the back panel of the pocket. And then up a little bit more, but not quite so much, to make the flap, because the flap doesn't go all the way down. And then it's also kind of trapezoidal shaped, so we're gonna try and freehand that a little bit. Not too much. The hemming will do most of the work on that one. And let us cut that all out. Don't cut in the like lines, just the outside, not the inside. Otherwise you will have to start all over with fresh fabric. Yay! And so this is kind of what the end pocket will look like. Make sure that everything is lined up. Oh yes, wonderful soon-to-be pocket. Let's sew it. So we also need a little bit of a firm thinginess in the back so it stands up instead of flops over. So trace around where the middle section of that is, basically what the back panel is. And then you're going to want to cut out just a little bit smaller than that so there's still room for the pocket to move around a little bit. And do any trimming if you need to. Voila! That is your interfacing. Now you're going to want to very artistically pin that onto the fabric and sew this part onto the back panel. If you have fusible, you can just iron that on, but I used regular kind because it doesn't get as thick in the fusible kind. Alright, and now you are going to hem the outsides, the bottom part, and the bottom part that's basically going to come up and be underneath the flap. Now you're going to put the outside sides together and sew up the sides of the pocket. And then you're going to turn it inside out, kind of like you would a teddy bear, if you've sewn one of those before. Or a pillowcase, maybe? You're going to want to poke the corners out. And here we are. We've got our little first part of that done. And then we are going to hem up the flap, and you're going to want to form this into the trapezoid. So I'm doing the sides at kind of an angle and then just the top part flat. And that is how you make a pocket. This pocket is functional and you can put things in it like your caribou card that you haven't used in 5 ever. Woo! Right, so I've put clasps on the pockets as well, and I made one that's triple wide for the back one, and I put 2 clasps on that one. And then I washed all of those so that way the marker wasn't on them. Alright, so find the exact middle of your belt, and that is where you're going to put the center of the huge pocket. This is where I kept most of my stuff throughout the entire weekend. It worked very well. And then you're going to space out the rest of the pockets accordingly. There are 2 of them right next to each other towards the front, basically on the front side of his hips. And then you've got your little lovely belt buckle. Now I'm going to mark where each of these is so that way I can move them and use some more of that wonderful E6000 and glue it on there. The belt in relation to the pockets is about halfway down it. So you want to mark that on your pocket as well. Now let's do some lines of glue. Be very careful to not let the glue like seep through the entire thing. It does stain. I learned that when doing the belt the first time, trying to do the belt the first time. But that's also why having a good thick interfacing is very nice. Then we are going to press that down. I'm also pressing it from the inside to make sure that's good and that we're not gluing the pocket closed. Perfect! Yay! Then we're going to do the same for the rest of the pockets.